Today we're talking about what to do with your twiggy hydrangeas right now. So I'm Lisa with Down to Earth Gardening and Design, and I love gardening, I love my hydrangeas, but right now they're not looking great, and that's pretty normal. So we're talking about macrophylla hydrangeas, which are your mop heads that come in the beautiful blue hues, pinks, purples, so depending on your pH. And then also some of our lace cap hydrangeas are macrophyllas, so you treat them the same way. So this is pretty typical right now, but I want to walk you through the care to not only make them look a little bit better, but also having them look their best and helping you get some beautiful, stunning hydrangea blooms this year. Okay, so before we get to our steps, because I want to walk you through what to do with them right now when they're looking twiggy, I just want to talk briefly about the macrophylla hydrangeas, because pruning is really important, can be a little confusing, and there's a lot of conversation about it. So we're going to talk about that first, and then we're going to get into the steps a little bit more. So your macrophyllas will bloom typically on old wood, so that means last year's wood. However, there are some types or varieties that will bloom on old and new wood, so last year's growth and this year's growth. And what's really great about them is that they are worry-free pruning. So you kind of can't really make a mistake, because if you miss the proper pruning time, you're still guaranteed to get some beautiful blooms. So the ones that bloom on the old and new wood, just if you're curious, are your endless summers, which I'm standing in front of right now. I'm here with my Bloomstruck, and I also have my original blue endless summers, which I'm going to bring you down there and show you. But right now, if you're pruning them, this is really an ideal time to do it. So don't fret if they're not looking great. What it does for you is it'll help you take the guesswork out of what to prune, because you can see there are some beautiful buds here and there's some dead wood, and right now it's a little more obvious. So let's go down to the endless summer, and then we will bring you step by step how to prune those and some further additional care. Okay, now I'm in front of my original endless summer. These are the blues, and they're going to be stunning this year. You can see all the buds. Now, the thing I tell people, because a lot of people do get concerned when they see a lot of these brown twigs, is don't worry about it. We're going to take care of that today, and it's pretty typical when you have your hydrangeas planted in the ground or in pots and they're out there in the garden. And I think what's confusing is when you go to the nursery, and I'm going to show you a clip here. Right now, they are looking stunning in the nursery pots at the nursery. And there's a reason for that. That is because that situation is highly controlled. They are greenhoused. They bring them in when it's too cold, if there's a cold snap. They have them in containers, so they have the ideal soil. They are watering them really regularly. So those look absolutely pristine. But in real life, they should look a little twiggy right now. And you can see how many blooms I have. So when you're doing the proper pruning, it's really important to get all of these buds and our hydrangea blooms. All right, so let's quickly go through the steps because they're pretty simple. So number one is the pruning. So now we know what's going to be a flower and what wood is dead. So we're going to avoid all of these beautiful buds that are starting, and we are going to cut down any of this brown twiggy wood here. So what you don't want to do is you don't want to go down to the base and cut it. You just want to cut it enough to hide your cut inside the shrub. So if you can just go down to some healthy leaves, some healthy growth, and I don't know if you can see what I'm doing in here, and we can leave that, and we want to cut these with some clean sterilized pruners on our 45-degree angle. And I always try to go over this with people because if you cut your woody stems all the way to the ground, you're removing its support cage. So a lot of this growth here, you can see right here, is on soft wood here. And so if you cut its natural cage away, it's going to get floppy. So you just simply hide your cuts in the shrub here and clean it up. So I'm going to do that quickly here. I'm going to avoid all of these buds. You can see here I have some leaves, no buds, so I can cut that down to some healthy growth. Okay, so you can already see the difference. I've pruned the twiggy dead branches off of this one here, and I haven't gotten to these yet. So definitely big difference already. Number two is you can fertilize them. So this is only if you haven't done this in the spring, because sometimes as we're opening up our gardens, we will put down some fertilizer. So in that case, you want to do step two, you want to skip it. So I like to use 5-10-10 slow release granules, and we will put up some of our favorite things. We'll give you some links in the description just in case you're interested. So the slow release is great, and all you do is you just sprinkle it right around the drip line. So not really close to the base. You want to go basically where the outermost branches fall over your soil line here. And then we're just going to toss it under a little bit. So a note on fertilization is that you want to stop fertilizing your hydrangeas mid-summer. So that's because we don't want them to continue to put on new growth at the end of the summer and the fall, because at that point they should be getting ready to go dormant for the winter. So you want to refrain once you get to midsummer. Number three is you can still adjust the pH. I just have a note about that. I like to get out there and do this in the early spring because I like to have my dark blue, vibrant blue blooms. It's really a great time to do it. If you're doing it now, it's a little late in the game and it takes a while for pH to adjust, but you can still put it down, because if you have the hydrangeas that bloom on the old and new wood, you still may get some of those later blooms that are on the new wood that will turn blue or the color of your choice. So just remember, acidic means blue and alkaline means pink. So just adjust it accordingly. So I do the same thing for my bloomstruck, which will turn them a really deep purple. So I've already done this. If you haven't, you can put it down. You just sprinkle your granules and toss it under the same way we did with the fertilizer. Okay, and number four is hydrate your hydrangeas regularly. So be really consistent with this. So they really do appreciate it and will really help them perform their best. So when you water them, you want to give them a good deep watering. So they need about 1 to 2 inches per week. You want to water them at the base. I'm going to show you how right now. You want to avoid the leaves, and it's really best if you can do it in the morning before the blaring sun gets on the leaves, just in case you wet the leaves a little bit, or even in the evening. So because also we just put down some amendments, and anytime you amend you should water, it's a good time to do it right now as well. Okay, extra tip on watering is what will really help retain some moisture is if you add a little bit of mulch around your plants. So I like to put no more than 2 inches of mulch around my plants, and I love to use fine ground mulch, so bark mulch. So I have that down already, but if you don't, you can go ahead and apply some mulch right now. So that's it. I love sharing tips and tricks with you. I have 25 plus years of experience gardening, and I love to share them and help you get your own beautiful gardens at home to enjoy. So if you liked the video, give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel, because I have a lot more gardening topics coming your way.